Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about traveling overseas, everything that you need and what you need to prepare for. So, what you'll need is obviously a valid passport. Um, Booking your ticket overseas. Now, booking a ticket from the US to Asia in and of itself is expensive unless you book a flight from these two locations. That's Seattle, Washington, and that's Los Angeles, California. Both those two hubs you can leave out of for a decent price to Asia. Let's say like around, if you was to leave anywhere else, let's say like Georgia to China or something like that, it'd probably be well over $1,000. So it'd probably be like 1,000, 400, 500. If you was to leave from LA or Washington DC, it'll probably range you anywhere from $500 to $700 for that plane trip from US to Asia. So I'm leaving from those two cities. Now, once you do that, most of these Asian countries will allow you to arrive there and they'll give you a visa on arrival, like a short term visa or whatever. Sometimes it's for 30 days, sometimes it's for like a few hours. Like China, for instance, when I was in Shanghai and went through there, I had to stay overnight in Shanghai. So they gave me like a few hour visa or whatever. Japan, they give you a 90-day visa on arrival. There's a little thing that you can fill out on an app or online where they give you like a QR code. Like you put in your passport information and your itinerary before you go, put your hotel and all that. Basically, you're putting in all your information that they need to know just in case of emergency or whatever. But once you put in all that information, they'll give you a QR code. They'll send it to your email, or you can just grab the QR code from the app or the website, and you basically just use that QR code as soon as you get up to what do they call it? Immigration. As soon as you get up to immigration, all you have to do is just pull out that QR code from your phone and just scan it on a little device. That's simple. So it's like you're better off doing that before you go there, because if you don't do that when you go there to Japan, you have to write that out on a fucking what do they call it? You have to write it out on some type of paper or whatever, and it's a lot of writing. You just sitting there with a crowd, a whole bunch of other people doing the same thing, trying to write everything, information down. It's just a hassle. He's basically standing there with a bunch of other people trying to do that. So to avoid that trouble, you get the QR code from this. I forget the website, but it's not that hard to find. Another thing, if you want to go to China from here in the U.S., do not go to Macau. I haven't checked Hong Kong to see if it's the same prices, but if you leave from here to Macau, that's well over a $2,000 ticket. Not even worth it. $2,000 ticket. So that's why it's best to go to a cheaper Asian country. As soon as you get to Asia, take that plane from Asia to Macau or wherever else you want to go to in China. It won't even be that much anymore. It'll drop significantly, at least to, what is it, like $200? It was like $240 something from Tokyo to Macau. A few years back when I went, and I stayed in Macau, China for like a month and a half. I had to renew my visa, so that's another thing. So when you're staying in these countries, especially China, like Macau, they gave me like a 30-day visa on arrival. So after my visa was up, I would have to renew it. So the best way to renew that would be to go to the neighboring country, Hong Kong, cross that border, and come back. When you come back, they'll give you another visa extension. So that's basically another 30 days. So you can keep doing that, just keep going back and forth between the countries just to, keep yourself legally in that country. You'll just have to go back and forth whenever it's time to renew your visa. But, they'll ask a lot of questions because when I first got to Hong Kong, they asked me a whole bunch of questions like, what are you doing here? This, and that, where are you going? What are you about to do? They took me in a back room or whatever and questioned me and stuff. They asked to empty the contents of my wallet out. I showed them I ain't got nothing to hide. So I showed them everything out of my wallet and pretty much told them the reason why I was there. I'm basically here, to go sightsee. I'm only going to be here for a day. So I'm just here to go sightsee, look at the sights. I told them I was going to go see the Bruce Lee statue, which is what it was true. I was going to go see the Bruce Lee statue. But, at the same time, renewing my visa too. But, it's just stuff you got to think about when you go through immigration through these countries, especially China, because, China and America don't have the best relations. So you, being as an American, they're going to want to talk to you first about anything. So be aware of that. Now, Hong Kong, if you want to take a ferry around Hong Kong, because that's basically what Hong Kong is. It's a bunch of islands, little islands around or whatever. If you want to take a ferry or a boat to another island, you can either ride on one of the old Chinese junk ships, or you could ride on the jet boat. Now I took the jet boat. That's this right here. So the jet boat, basically, you use this basically the fastest transportation from island to island in Hong Kong. So, if you want to leave the main city to Kowloon or some other island or something like that, you would have to take that. You can also I also took that jet boat from Macau, China to Hong Kong. So there's two ways you can get to Hong Kong from Macau. That's either by the bridge that they built across the ocean from Macau to Hong Kong. It's the longest bridge in the world, I believe, if that hasn't changed. Yeah, you're basically going miles and miles across the water. You can take a bus. They'll take you all the way from Macau to Hong Kong. But the fastest way, in my opinion, would be the jet boat. Now, this thing is standing on two, almost like jet ski type, blades or whatever on the water. It's it lifts, before it takes off, it lifts up and then it takes off. It's gliding on the water. It's the craziest experience I've ever had riding on a jet boat. But yeah, it gets you from, I'm trying to remember how long it took me. I think it gets you from Macau to Hong Kong in an hour and a half, I would say. Something around there. It didn't take long. It was fun. Here's a little bit of footage here. After we got done with all that, we finally arrived to Hong Kong. And when you arrive to Hong Kong and you get off the ferry, when you get back on the ferry, you have to get these plastic tokens or whatever, kind of I don't know, tickets, I guess. You had to put, Hong Kong change in this machine or whatever, and they'll spit out this coin, this plastic coin to you or whatever. And I guess you use this coin to enter enter the boat, the jet boats or whatever. And depending on where, they'll tell you where you need to go, where you're going up above or whatever. There's a picture here to show that. But yeah, after you've done all that, it's pretty much easy. You pretty much got everything down. The taxis and buses, I didn't really take any taxis and buses when I was in Hong Kong because I was only there for like a day. Not even a day, like a few hours. But, I basically walked most of the way when I was there in Hong Kong. Um, Hong Kong is very rich. Macau is very rich too. When I first went to Macau, China, I haven't seen that much gold, pure gold, ever in my life until I went to Macau, China. I went to the Grand Lisboa Casino when I was out there. When I was out there, they had solid gold statues. Look at this. This is an absurd amount of gold. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Just art. Whoever created this, man. Where are they getting this much gold? This is crazy. I've never seen so much gold in my life. Look at this. Wow. This is crazy. They had, oh man, they had diamonds, all types of jewelry, Stanley Ho's jewelry. Stanley Ho is one of the major architects of Macau. He really made Macau grow. He's the one who started all the casinos and all that. Stanley Ho is a very rich Chinese billionaire. He's long gone now, but he helped build Macau to what it is today. And a lot of his treasures and stuff that he kept because he was very wealthy. A lot of his treasures and stuff you can still see in the Grand Lisboa casino. You can see the diamonds, the gold, all the stuff that he collected. Not only that, like when you're out in the streets, you see jewelry stores on every corner. Like they just sell the most extravagant stuff. Gold, I ain't never seen gold ever like this. Chinese don't wear 24 karat gold. They don't wear, gold that's mixed with other gold. They wear pure gold, solid, pure gold. I mean, they got gold bands, gold necklaces for weddings, all type of stuff. Good luck. It's just like China is so slept on. If you really want to get some like good gold, you want to get like pure gold, China is the place to go. It's definitely only not here. Here is a scam. They want to try to scam you by putting, lesser gold, lesser metals mixed in with the gold to try and reinforce the gold and make it stronger. No, they don't do that in China. Pure gold. You ain't got to worry about that. Now, when I was in China, what's the first thing you think about when you go to China? Pollution, overcrowded, etc. I didn't witness any pollution. It's barely overcrowded. And food is much more better, healthier, way healthier. I can say the difference between American food and the local Chinese food, it's just, it doesn't mess up your stomach after a while. Like, you know, when you eat the food here in the States, sometimes depending on what you eat, it messes with your stomach, you know. That you don't get that problem out there in China. Although I will say this, do not drink the sugarcane juice, even if it's pre-packaged in a bottle. That will tear your stomach up. I learned my lesson with that. Won't do that again. But other than that, everything you eat out there is healthy. Even the local street food. You know, I had some local street food. I don't know what it was, but my ex or whatever, and she had showed me this little street stand. They were like boiling eggs and pig ears and a whole bunch of other stuff, and they like give you like these little um wooden sticks to, like, you know, skewer the pig ears or the egg or whatever, and you dip it in the sauce. It was like a sweet um it was like a sweet soy sauce almost, but it wasn't soy sauce. I can't put my finger on it. That was pretty good. Then we went to another food stand and they sold a bunch of fried stuff. Oh my God. And they had this red sauce. I thought it was hot sauce. It kind of was hot sauce, but it had like a little zing to it. Ah, fire. I think they may have put, I don't know what they put in it. That was pretty good. They had sold a bunch of fried stuff like crab ragoons, and they sold some chicken, um, something else, a bunch of other stuff that we had got. And then they got the sauce on the side. You know, they put it in a bag. Basically, you get the sauce, put the sauce all up and, you know, on everything, you know, while it's in the bag, you know, just moving around and shit so it can coat everything. And yeah, that was good. That was very good. Um, when you're in Macau, China, definitely want to try the egg tarts. Egg tarts is a staple there. It's pretty good. I've never had egg tarts a day in my life till I went to Macau, China, and I'd have to say that's pretty good dessert. It's light, crispy. You know, ignore the name. It doesn't taste anything like an egg hardly. You know, it's sweet. You know, it tastes like a pastry, almost like a cheesecake. Almost, it's got that texture. Uh, there's another place. There's a noodle place out there in Macau, like right across the street from where we stayed at. Uh, Basically, you go in, you pick anything you want. Like you get the size bowl you want, and then they have a like a big ass refrigerator right here on the side. As soon as you walk in, and inside the refrigerator they got different types of meats, vegetables, seafood, all type of stuff that you can just, you know, get the little tongs. You get the little tongs from the side of the refrigerator, and then you see whatever you want, pick it out, get the tongs, pick whatever you want, put it in the bowl, and then also you can pick what type of noodles you want too. They got different type of noodles that you can pick. Get that with the tongs, put it in the bowl, and then whenever you're done getting everything you want, like, you know, corn and all that stuff, everything you want in your noodles or your soup, you give it to the guy. He'll cook it like this right here in this video. And after he cooks it, you know, there you are. You know, everything that you put, your veggies, your meats, your seafoods, or whatever you put in with the noodles, you know, that broth that he cooks it in, basically everything soaks that up. That just, I can't even describe it. It's so dang good. That is like the best noodles I've had. One more thing to note while being in China, definitely be aware that Google doesn't work there. I believe Yahoo might work there. I think it kind of worked. I don't know, it's kind of up in the air because when I was in Shanghai, I was connected to my personal cell phone data, and I was able to connect to Yahoo to check my email about certain things. But I do know Google doesn't work out there. Pretty much any American app doesn't work out there in China. You'll have to download a VPN. Download a VPN before you get to China, or else it's not going to work if you try to download a VPN there. So download a VPN and make sure that's activated before you get to China, and then you shouldn't have any problem. Google Maps doesn't work either. So if you're trying to find your way around China, Google Maps is not the best app to use. There are other apps out there that you can use that work